Good day everyone, I am Lizelle in Detuya, and today we will be discussing the 5 learning theories with you together with my groupmates, Jane Marie E. Taylan, Hanilin Aninohon, Glyza O. Lagumbay, and Gian Clark in Sumatra. But first, what is learning theories? Well, learning theories are sets of conjectures and hypotheses that explain the process of learning or how learning takes place. There are many learning theories that guide instructions. According to Akdinis et al. 2016, the 3 basic approaches while dealing with learning theories are behaviorist or behaviorism, cognitivist or cognitivism, and constructivist or constructivism. One of the most famous learning theory is Jean Piaget's cognitive development theory. As learners interact with the world around them, they continually add new knowledge, build upon existing knowledge, and adapt previously held ideas to accommodate new information. And now, I will discuss to you the first learning theorist, which is the theory of constructivism by Jean Piaget. But first, who is Jean Piaget? Jean William Fritz Piaget is a philosopher from Switzerland. He was born on August 9, 1896 in Switzerland and began showing an interest in the natural sciences at a very early age. By the time he was 11, he had already started his career and as a researcher by writing a short paper on the albino sparrow. And also, he is famously known for his genetic epistemology, which is the cognitive development and epistemological view. What is constructivism? The constructivism is a learning theory which affirms that knowledge is the base gained through a process of action, reflection, and construction. Piaget focuses on the interaction of experiences and ideas in the creation of new knowledge. Jean Piaget's cognitive constructivism. This theory stresses that learners take active roles in understanding, creating, and making sense of information in terms of developmental stages, developmental tasks, and learning styles. And also, Piaget's theory of constructivism has an impact on curriculum since teachers must create lesson plans that will benefit their students' logical growth and conceptual growth. Teachers must emphasize to the students that importance of experiences or links with a joining environment in their education. According to the Piaget theory, people create information and meaning based on their experiences. In other words, knowledge and experience are equivalent. Major considerations when applying this theory. First, there are things that learners can and cannot understand at different ages. Second, learners develop cognitive abilities through developmental stages. Third, learners fit in new experiences into their existing schema or assimilation. Fourth, learners alter existing schema to integrate new experiences or accommodation. Assimilation is the process of assimilating, which entails combining previous knowledge with new information. Accommodation, which is defined as reshaping the environment and novel experiences to fit a depressive mental framework, requires us to make room for other expectations for results outside from learning theories. Constructivism is a theory put out by Piaget that focuses on how learning happens rather than what impacts it. Just for example, a boy saw an airplane and from existing schema he called it a bird. This is called assimilation. But his mother told him it's an airplane and people travel in it and it's a non-living thing. With the help of new schema, the boy came to know the difference of bird and airplane, and now he can correctly recognize it. This is called accommodation. Therefore, constructivism is based on the idea that people actively construct or make their own knowledge and that reality is determined by your experiences as a learner. Physically, learners use their previous knowledge as a foundation and build on it with the new things what they learn.
Who is Albert Bandura? Albert Bandura is an influential social cognitive psychologist who is perhaps best known for his social learning theory, the concept of self-efficacy, and his famous Boo-Boo doll experiment. He is a professor emeritus at Stanford University and is widely regarded as one of the greatest living psychologists. Social learning theory proposed by Albert Bandura emphasizes the importance of observing, modeling, and imitating the behaviors, attitudes, and emotional reactions of others. Social learning theory considers how both environmental and cognitive factors interact to influence human learning and behavior. Children observe the people around them behaving in various ways. This is illustrated during the famous Boo-Boo doll experiment. Individuals that are observed are called models. In society, children are surrounded by many influential models such as parents within the family, characters on children's TV, friends within their peer group, and teachers at school. These models provide examples of behavior to observe and imitate. Children pay attention to some of these people or models to encode their behavior. At a later time, they may imitate the behavior they have observed. Models are classified as: first, real-life or direct modeling. It is a type of modeling where the learners imitate the model's behavior. Second, symbolic modeling. It is a type of modeling where learners imitate the behavior displayed by characters in books, play, movies, or television. Third, synthesized modeling. It is a type of modeling where learners develop behavior by combining portions of observed acts. Lastly, abstract modeling. It is a type of modeling where learners infer a system of rules by observing examples where rules are displayed. Therefore, social learning theory by Albert Bandura is a theory of learning process, social behavior, which proposes that new behaviors can be acquired by observing and imitating others.
The third theory is theory of multiple intelligence. First things first. What is multiple intelligence? Great question. Well, multiple intelligence is a learning theory that was suggested in 1983 by Howard Gardner. Who is Howard Gardner? Howard Gardner was the father of multiple intelligence that was born on July 1943 in Scranton, Pennsylvania. A developmental psychologist and a professor at Harvard University, and best known for his theory of multiple intelligence, frame of mind, the theory of multiple intelligence in 1983. Humans have different ways of processing information that was identified of 8 intelligence or 2 or more considerations, which is existential and pedagogical. Also, the theory of multiple intelligence is to broaden the definition of intelligence by recognizing individuals may have high intelligence in an area outside of the traditional school subject of mathematics or language art. In fact, many people have more than one area of intelligence. So here are the different types of intelligence. The first area of intelligence is linguistic, that learners have an intense passion for spoken and written language. It is also the ability to learn different languages and use them to accomplish goals. Next is the logical or mathematical, that learners can analyze problems logically and scientifically through mathematical operations. It is also the ability to discover patterns, reason deductively, and think logically. Next is spatial, that learners can distinguish and utilize patterns of space, and also it is the ability to fathom and optimize the use of spaces. Next is musical, that learners are adaptive to skills in performance, composition, and appreciation of musical patterns. It is also the ability to recognize and compose musical pitches, tones, and rhythms. Next is body or kinesthetic, that learners make use of their body or whole body in solving and conveying thoughts or ideas. It is also the ability to coordinate mental abilities with bodily movements. Next is interpersonal, that learners work effectively with oneself. It is also the ability to understand the intentions, motivations, and desire of other people. Next is intrapersonal, that learners work effectively with others. And also, it is the ability to understand oneself, appreciate one's feelings, fears, and motivations. And lastly, the naturalist, that learners have appreciation of the environment and nature. It is also the ability to recognize and categorize and grow upon certain features of the environment.
Fourth is the discovery learning, a constructivist approach to education. Discovery learning is a learning theory from Jerome Bruner. It is an inquiry-based, constructivist learning theory that takes place in problem-solving situations where the learner draws on his or her own past experiences and existing knowledge to discover fact, relationships, and new truth to be learned. According to Bruner, students interact the world by exploring and manipulating objects, wrestling questions and controversies, or performing experiments. Bruner stated that students are more likely to remember new concepts and knowledge that they have discovered on their own. He also believed that discovery learning encourages active engagement in which learners are more actively engaged in any class activities. It also promotes autonomy, responsibility, and independence in which the teachers put responsibility to the learner by answering and doing the activities on their own. It also develops creativity and problem-solving skills for the learners. On the other hand, critics believe that discovery learning creates cognitive overload, may result in potential misconceptions, and makes it difficult for teachers to detect problems and misconceptions. In general, real-life scenarios are given to the learner where they face the challenge of solving these problems on their own. The learner uses what they know as well as previous experience to draw upon conclusions for solving and learning.
The experiential learning theory. Experiential learning theory was identified by David Kolb in 1984, which focuses on constructing knowledge as a result of one's reflective experience that serves as the main driving force in learning. As the name says, experiential learning involves the transformation of experience into effective learning. Kolb's experiential learning theory stresses how our experiences, including our thoughts, emotions, and environment, impact the learning process. Though his influence came from other theorists such as John Dewey, Kurt Lewin, and Jean Piaget, Kolb's theory defines experiential learning as a four-stage process: the concrete learning, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. The first two stages, concrete learning and reflective observation, focus on grasping an experience. The latter two, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation are about transforming an experience. To Kolb, effective learning is seen as the learner goes through the cycle of experiential learning theory. Students can enter the cycle in any way and at any point. Concrete learning occurs when a learner has a new experience or interprets a previous experience in a new way. For example, a nursing student has to learn a new procedure as part of their clinical education. Now, in reflective observation, the learner reflects on the new experience to understand what it means. In our example, the nursing student might think about how they could have done the procedure better. In abstract conceptualization, the learner adapts their thinking or constructs new ideas based on experience and reflection. For example, the nursing student realizes they need to have all their materials ready before starting the procedure. Now, in active experimentation, the learner applies their new ideas to real-world situations to test whether they work and see if any changes need to be made. This process can happen quickly or over an extended time. Now, our nursing student might note how smoothly things go consistently when they have everything ready for a procedure in advance. Kolb went to explain that learners will have their own preferences for how they enter the cycle of experiential learning, and that these preferences boil down to a learning cycle. Kolb's experiential learning cycle model. The experiential learning cycle rests on the idea that each person has a specific type of learning tendencies, and they are thus dominant in certain stages of experiential learning. For example, some learners will be more dominant in concrete learning and reflective observation, while others will be dominant in abstract conceptualization and active experimentation. There are 4 styles of learning. Diverging. The diverging learning style is full of learners who look at things with a unique perspective. They want to watch instead of do, and they also have a strong capacity to imagine. These learners usually prefer to work in groups, have broad interests in cultures and people, and more. They usually focus on concrete learning and reflective observation, wanting to observe and see the situation before diving in. Assimilating. This learning style involves learners getting clear information. These learners prefer concepts and abstracts to people and explore using analytic models. These learners focus on abstract conceptualization and reflective observation in the experiential learning style. Converging. Converging learners solve problems. They apply what they've learned to practical issues and prefer technical tasks. They are also known to experiment with new ideas, and their learning focuses on abstract conceptualization and active experimentation. Lastly, accommodating. These learners prefer practicality. They enjoy new challenges and use intuition to help solve problems. These learners utilize concrete learning and active experimentation when they learn. Now, there are many ways that experiential learning is used every day. Some examples include going to the zoo to learn about animals through observation instead of reading about them, or growing in a garden to learn about photosynthesis instead of watching a movie about it, or hopping on a bicycle to try and learn to ride instead of listening to your parent explain the concept. You see, the benefits of experiential learning for teachers and students includes the opportunity to immediately apply knowledge. Experiential learning can allow students to immediately apply things they are learning to real-world experiences. This helps them retain the information better. The promotion of teamwork. Experiential learning often involves working in a team, so learning in these settings allows students to practice teamwork. Improved motivation. Students are more motivated and excited about learning in experiential settings. Experiments are exciting and fun for students, and they will be passionate about learning. Opportunity for reflection. Students using the experiential model are able to spend time reflecting about what they are experiencing and learning. This is valuable as they are able to better retain information when they can think about what's happening to them. Real-world practice. Students can greatly benefit from learning that helps them prepare for the real world. Experiential learning is focused on using real situations to help students learn, so they are then better prepared for their future. It's important for current and aspiring teachers to work to include experiential learning opportunities in their classroom. There are many ways teachers can work to include these learning activities in their class, including field trips, arts projects, science experiments, and many more. Students can greatly benefit from experiential learning inside the classroom. If you're a teacher or studying to become one, this learning theory can help you connect with your students more effectively. Utilizing projects and experiences inside the classroom will help students learn more effectively and enjoy their learning experiences. Teachers who understand learning theories can better optimize their classroom and help more students learn in ways that work for them. Remember that being a successful teacher means focusing on how best to help students succeed. And those are the learning theories. We hope you learned something today. Always remember, minds are like parachutes. They only function when they are open. Thanks for watching.